Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Citrix Converge 2021. In this session, I will introduce how to build CVAD ITSM workflow in ServiceNow environment. I'm Terry Ho, the product manager of ITSM Adapter Service. This is the agenda for this session. First, we will go through the ITSM Adapter Service overview, and then we introduce Citrix-developed customer activities in ServiceNow environment. And last, we'll demo how to customize workflow in ServiceNow by using the customer activities. Citrix-provided workspace environment to enterprise customer. The end user will access Citrix workspace for daily usage. Citrix administrator will manage the workspace environment. And normally, the end user will request IT assistant through the IT system. Here we refer to ServiceNow. Citrix ITSM Adapter Service is a bridge between the ServiceNow and Citrix workspace environment. The ServiceNow admin can download and install a plugin through the ServiceNow store, which is ITSM connector, and then it'll build a connection to Citrix workspace environment. So in Citrix workspace environment, we have a cloud service. It is ITSM Adapter Service. So this cloud service has been deployed in US, EU, and AP. And we provide a flexible model to support both the cloud and on-prem CVAD deployment. But you must be aware that for the on-prem deployment, you'll need site aggregation as a prerequisite condition. And then the cloud-based release cadence will introduce you the new innovations for every 6 to 8 weeks. Then what's the benefits you can get from ITSM Adapter Service? First, it can reduce the helpdesk call and improve employee experience by the automated self-service. And second, you can optimize the operation cost, since it can allocate the resource to end user by the request, not from the beginning. And you will get a centralized incident tracking capability in ServiceNow for the critical alerts and events. And also you will get a flexible customization options in the ServiceNow low-code development environment. It's called Workflow Editor. So Citrix will provide you the customer activities which allow you to easily customize your workflow. So this is the topic for today's session. Now let's see what the key features we can bring to our customers. First, the service request by the end user. So the end user can reset a session by themselves, and they can request what they need, the desktop and the applications. Also, they can perform the VDI power management, for example, to force shut down his desktop. And from admin's perspective, they can process the user's request and to do the MCS-based provisioning or deprovision the idle resource. Now, for centralized incident tracking, we provide a dashboard in ServiceNow ITSM connector, which allows you to monitor and view the CVAD alerts, the CC notifications, and also we can bring the ADM events into the ServiceNow Incident Management Center. So in the ServiceNow Incident Management Center, you can give a very good follow-up for the critical alerts and event. For customization options, now we already integrated with ServiceNow Virtual Agent. So by this integration, the end user can reset his session from non-mobile agent or from Teams Slack, which integrate with ServiceNow Virtual Agent. And also now we provide orchestration API, which is the custom activities in ServiceNow Workflow Editor environment. Before to move into customer activities, I'll spend a minute to explain a use case for ServiceNow Virtual Agent integration. This is a healthcare customer. So the doctor normally they need take 15 minutes or half hour to call the help desk and wait for the session to be reset. Now, by the integration with ServiceNow Virtual Agent, the doctor can start the conversation from non-mobile or from the Teams or Slack. By the conversational chatting, you can ask for reset the session. And then through the Citrix workflow automation built on ServiceNow, its ITSM adapter will trigger the reset session automatically. Then the session is automatically reset. This highly improves the patient and doctor experience, and it saves thousands of hours annually. Now, let me introduce Citrix-developed customer activities. So this shows you the ServiceNow Workflow Editor environment. After you install the Citrix ITSM connector in ServiceNow environment, you will get the customer activities under of the Workflow Editor environment. If you go to these customer activities, you will find like AD, Azure AD. Also, you will find Citrix IT Service Management Connector, which includes the customer activities you can use to build your workflow. So from now, in the latest release 21.10, Citrix provides the ITSM adapter include below customer activities. They are like session-related, VDA-related, application, and permission grant-related activities. You can get the session details and reset the session according to what you get. And then you can build a workflow which is different from Citrix-provided today. And by get machine details, you can get the VDA information from CVAD environments. And then you can perform like VDA power management to force shutdown or to power on based on your own schedule. And also you can deprovision your VDI when it's idle or when someone left your organization. Also, you can get the application details to be used to manage your applications. By assign user to group, it's like a delivery group or application group. You can manage your desktop or application resource to assign to the user based on their request. So all those customer activities are developed and verified by Citrix. We keep evolving. Also, Citrix already take care of the CVAD authentication flow in the customer activities. When you work on the workflow, you don't need to take care of the authentication part because when you onboard the ITSM adapter service, you already made the connection between the ServiceNow and the CVAD environment. And all the above customer activities with very flexible input and output options. Take an example, get machine activity. So the input variable, you can find that it includes the catalog name, catalog UID, with delivery group information, and the registration state that support the power management capability on the UUID of which user has been assigned. And for the output variables, it's based on the JSON string format. It's very easy to be processed and to be expanded in the future. Now, let's see a demo how to customize workflow based on those customer activities. Before we move to the demo, let's see the demo scenario. When someone left the organization, the admin would like to reclaim the VDI resource, or log off the virtual application sessions and the multiple session desktops, and they expect that to complete it automatically. So based on this requirement, we can create a workflow. So from somewhere, you can trigger the resource claim process. And then we can query the VDI information owned by this end user, and then perform the VDI deprovisioning. After that, we can query all his sessions and log off all his sessions. Now you want to create a new workflow under a workflow editor environment. So we click new workflow. And then input the name. So let's say a CVAD dismiss the resource. Here you can choose a table to say this workflow link to which table. And here we see the condition is we run the workflow always to monitor this table. And we specify the condition is when the active is false. So why we did this is because we want to simulate the condition and the scenario to trigger this workflow. So by setting of this, it means this workflow will monitor the sys user table, and when the active variable is become to false, then it will trigger this workflow to the next step. So we submit this. Then a new workflow is created. Okay. With the begin and end. Now we check this customer activity and get that the first customer activity is get machine. Okay, here is the input parameters for the get machine. So also we need to give a name. Let's say get user VDIs. And based on our scenario is when the user ID is became to inactive, then we get the VDI information belongs to this user. So now we will set this assigned user name is current user ID. So this is what ServiceNow provides the format. So then when the user information in the sys user table triggers this flow, then we will get this current user ID from the begin flow and bring it to the get machine activity. Okay, we submit this. Then you get the first activity linked to this workflow. We can connect this when it's failure, let's go to the end. And then you need to choose another core activity is run a script. So this run script is going to process the output of the get machine activity. Because you need to get the machine ID for the next step. Here you need to write a very simple script. Say when you will process the scratch pad with which ServiceNow will bring the output of get machine to this scratch pad. Then it will look at the machine list and get that machine ID one by one. So now this is just one. Okay, now by this step, you get the machine ID from the get machines activity, and then you will transfer it to the next step. Deprovision. So you name it. And the machine ID, which you get from the previous step by the script. So it's in the scratch pad. And here remove VDI. This is also an input parameter because it's a bool. Then it will and ServiceNow convert to this checkbox. So by check it, it means you will remove the VDI. I mean totally remove and release the resource. If you do not select this, then it means just remove the user assignment, but the VDI will still be available for another assignment. Now, submit this. Okay, then you need to add another core activity. It's scan to check if there is more than one VDI. So it will edit the condition. Now you choose the advanced condition and write a script. In this script, you go to check if the machine list length is 0. It means this is the last one. Okay, you submit, and then this condition will keep checking. And if not, then if you go back to run script, to process the output list of get machines, to list all the machines and deprovision them one by one. So this is all the steps related to the VDI part. And then we go to the log off session part. So this very similarly, you choose get session activity, you name it, and you specify the variables its username or user ID from the current user ID. Okay, now you link the get session flow with the VDI flow. And then very similarly, you will do those run script to reset the user session by the session ID you get from this run script, and you will check if they have more sessions to be logged off. And finally, it will end the process. So this gives the very easy workflow creation method under of ServiceNow Workflow Editor by using Citrix-provided customer activity. After you build this workflow, you may want to verify if it works well. So we go to the sysuser table and created a user John and set the active to false. So then this will trigger the workflow which is monitoring this sysuser table, because one user, the status became to false. And then in ServiceNow workflow context, if you go into the context, you will see that the workflow has been triggered. Okay, this is the workflow triggered, and you open this context and you go to show the workflow. Now you find that there is a blue line to tell you that how it's processed. And if you click each step, you will get the information about how this activity has been processed. Okay, now we complete the demonstration part. I wish you get what you want and understand how it's easy to create a workflow by leveraging Citrix-provided custom activities, in which you will enjoy this session. And last, about the resources, you are able to find our product document through this link. So this will be the single source of all the updates from the Citrix site. And also when you install the ITSM connector in the ServiceNow, there is a portal for administrator. So if you look at the home page, we give the reference to the customer activities, which is the developer document in Citrix developer website, and also the web link of our product document is presented here. So that's all for the presentation and demonstration. We may still have a few minutes to answer your questions. At the end, thanks again for your joining this session, and have a good day.